talk and answer questions and things like that. So I'm going to answer questions, and you can ask questions, and I will likely answer many of them. I don't always answer all of them, but I won't answer all of them, but I'll answer a lot of them. So hopefully that works with us all today. Yes, hopefully this works better than it did for Z. The internet is a fickle mistress here, so we'll just hope the internet works today in the thing here. So let's see here. Oh, there's no questions so far. Oh, have I ever been to Quebec City? I have not. Sorry. That was an easy one to answer. I have not been there. I'm going to take a quick drink here while I wait for the questions to come in. There's only 47 people watching now anyway, according to my numbers. Oh, 65. So, well, what a week. I got some information I'll share with you all, some news type stuff, but I'll wait till there's a few more people in the chat before I do that. Alrighty. Have you read any history books, nonfiction? Yes, but I'm trying to think what a fictional. I guess you're right. Never mind. I'm thinking, yes, I actually really like fictional history. Now, I can't believe I was so dense there. I really like that. But yeah, I read a lot of history books. When I was a kid, my dad bought a lot of books about World War II. He was fascinated with it. So I just naturally I would read about all these different facets. I read a book about the Battle of the Bulge, about the Flying Tigers, about whatever. I would read all those. Nowadays, I don't read as much history. Not much these days. I don't have any favorites. I read the famous author who wrote the whole history of the Civil War. I read that whole thing when I was a teenager. My word, was that heavy. I don't have any favorites. I tend to like reading biographies a lot, but I don't have any particular favorites. Have you ever played any fan expansions or games you really like? Very rarely, and I'm sure there's some amazing ones out there. I played a few, like Magical Athlete. But for the most part, I don't touch them. Not because I'm opposed to them in any sort of way, just because I'm already running out of space in my head for the actual official expansions for games. Let's see here. What game has the most edible looking components? I've actually thought about making a top 10 list on this subject. I might at some point. So we'll save that for there. What's your favorite mass-produced key lime pie that can be purchased in grocery stores? Is there such a thing? I mean, I shouldn't say is there such a thing. There is such a thing, but is there like more than two? I don't think I would ever buy one. I mean, I guess Entenmann's makes one, and there's a few other companies, but I would never buy those. I just wouldn't buy a mass-produced one. That's snooty. I know it's snooty, and I'm sorry. It's the one thing I'm pretty snooty about. But like here where we live, the grocery store, Publix, has Publix pies, and they're fantastic. I mean, they're not as good as the local made ones, but they're pretty good. So I'm not too upset about that. Have you played the video game Stardew Valley? I have not, actually. Have you heard there's a board game version out? Yes. I don't know. I guess I should. You know, I just bought Stardew Valley for one of my daughters for Christmas, and I know she's played it a bit, but she plays more Animal Crossing. My kids will get caught up in one video game or another and play it for a really long time. I have not played it, so I don't know what I might think of it. How much water do you try to drink daily? You know, I used to be more specific on it. Now I just try to be drinking all the time. I don't keep track of how much water I drink. I just drink a lot. And how much of that includes your many flavored options in? Well, most of it. At home, I usually have a jug of a gallon of water sitting near me. And I don't always drink it with flavors in it, but I often do. And I just find that with the flavors in, I drink more of it by itself. Now, if I'm eating a meal or something, then just plain old water is fine. But if I'm just drinking it on the side, I find that the flavor makes me drink it more. Do you think Canvas has Spiel des Jahres potential? I don't think so. Because I believe the Spiel des Jahres, the game has to be available in Germany. So I don't know. Canvas was only a Kickstarter as far as I know. So I don't know that that matters unless a German publisher picks it up. That being said, I don't know what games will be picked for the Spiel des Jahres, but I'm getting more disillusioned with their games anyway. Their games, I don't get as excited about them anymore as I used to. But there are some rules, and one of the rules is it has to be made in Germany. Could you hear the NASCAR race yesterday from your house? Indeed, I could. Folks, I live in Homestead, which is really close to the NASCAR track. In fact, I could walk to the NASA track from my house. It would take me, how long would it take me to walk there? Maybe 40 minutes, but it's not very far. 40 minutes because I have to walk out and around and back. But it's really close. I could drive there in 5 minutes. That's how close it is. So would you ever consider the Dice Tower sponsoring a car? What kind of money do you think we have here? When you learn a game, do you do a mock setup first, then read the rules, or just dive in? I dive in. I think I need to set up in front of me. Sure, but I dive in by setting up the game. I don't read the rules until we set it up, usually, because I want to see the whole thing set up. And I'm like, so when they say move this from here to here, I go, oh, from there to there. That makes sense. Where's the most beautiful place you've been at? Well, Iceland is definitely high up there because Iceland was gorgeous. Malaysia was beautiful. Nah, Iceland wins, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong. No matter where I've been in the world, I see beauty. Go to the Everglades here in Florida, Pennsylvania in the forests. When I lived in Pennsylvania, when I lived in Korea, climbing some of the mountains there, gorgeous. In China, many of the places I went at were beautiful, and Thailand was beautiful, but Iceland was just, it like put me in awe, the stuff I saw. How do you play games with older kids when younger kids are around and try to get into everything? I tell the younger kids to go away, do something else, and then they do so. It's not very difficult. I'm just like, hey, go do that. Go play with that. It's your turn next. Or sit here quietly and watch. Those are your two options. I don't give them any other options. They're not going to mess up the game because I won't allow it. Will the Dice Tower audio you mentioned in Board Game Breakfast be available on Spotify or SoundCloud? It's such a pain to get into Spotify. Maybe. We'll try. But we wanted to get it running first. So it's like there's a lot of stuff from last week, and it will now be going on a continual basis. Your time makes me think there could be a market for meeple-shaped gummies. I've had meeple-shaped gummies before, but I don't think the market's that strong. I'm reminding Mike on a very frequent basis on Twitter that his Olive Garden breadsticks are better than Red Lobster buns. Take is very bad. Should I continue my quest? Yes, actually. It's an internal thing that we will run into the ground here for a while. Board game is a huge hobby. How do we make the hobby visible to decision makers and politicians? There's a lot of money and other things to get. I feel that we're mostly looked over. Meh. I'm okay with the politicians staying out of board games. I don't care if they figure out where we are or what we're doing. Let's see here. Are there any board games that are based on Mortal Engines, Divergent Trilogy, and Inception? Good ones? No. There might be ones that I don't know about, but I don't think so. Roy has become infamous for using the term min-max. The max portion is straightforward. In games, we maximize points, money, resources, efficiency, etc. regularly. What's the min portion for? You're minimizing the effort you need to go to do the maximum amount. So if min-max comes from role playing, but that's like try to you will minimize this to maximize this. I'll take a small flaw to get a huge benefit. So it's kind of just moving the numbers around, and I'll take one step backward to take 65 steps forward. That sort of thing. If you order a game and a box comes damaged, do you go through the trouble of returning it? Depends how damaged the box is. Like, is there a hole in the box? Is the box unusable? If the box is just slightly beat up a little bit, then no, I would not. Do you have any Dice Tower shows you don't do anymore for whatever reason that you'd like to bring back? Maybe. But if I want to bring a show back, I just will. We've added so many new shows now that I'm, trying to keep track of all of them in my head, of the different ones that we're doing, and make sure that they keep going and going well. Would you do a well-warninged spoiler discussion of Red Rising? Well, I already reviewed the first book on the... Are you talking about the game or the books? I don't think there's any spoilers in the game. I guess a few people reviewed it. I have not watched any of those reviews. I usually, I said earlier in breakfast, I was talking about reviewing a game, is I'll usually, take a look at reviews, but I do my best to never look at reviews and stuff before I play a game, because I don't want them tainting my mind with how I might feel about the game. And it usually taints it differently than you might think, in the sense of, if Red Rising, and I don't know what the reviews have been saying because I've been really kind of not looking at them, but if all the reviews say it's the most amazing thing since sliced bread, I tend to go in it going, prove it to me. That's how I felt with other games. Everyone like raves about it, and I'm like, we'll see. And that's not necessarily the best attitude to go in, because then I'm already going with a slightly negative attitude. Do you enjoy baking and cooking with your kids and or wife? No. I don't like baking at all. Well, I just haven't done it. So I don't know if I don't like it or not. I just don't do it. And I do like cooking by myself. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't mind if you want to come be my absolute servant in the kitchen, I will take that. Go over there, peel that, chop that, give me that. But I don't want any other help. It's very rude of me. With so many good story campaign games coming out, what advice would you give to someone thinking about buying a bunch? In your opinion, is there a good number to get into at one time? Yeah, you should get into one at a time. I mean, you could buy a bunch, I suppose, but I would only play one at a time. There's just too many. Did you guys ever review Court of the Dead Mourner's Call? I only came across the dreadful bidding card game. That was a dreadful game. No, we never got it, actually. I went looking for it a little bit, but I haven't seen anyone talking about it. I heard some. We saw it in prototype form way back when. I remember going to a Gamma trade show and seeing it, thinking, maybe this game will be interesting. And then I never heard of it again. It never showed up. And I just didn't hunt it down because, well, I had other things to do. You mentioned earlier about your schedules. Are you all working 9-hour shifts or more? We're usually, I come in at 7 in the morning here at the studio, and I leave around 4. Sometimes I'm here till 5. But 7 to 4, so what is that, 9? But I also eat lunch, and I'm not like hard working the whole time. And then I would say I work another hour or 2 at home, sometimes before and sometimes at night. I work about 10-hour days or so. That seems legit, maybe a little bit more. And then I work maybe 3 or 4 hours over the weekend, sometimes more. Do you think the need for virtual videos due to pandemic has inspired your remote series, delay of game corner to corner, etc.? Do you think you'd have made these in normal times? But I don't know. I don't know what I would have done in normal times. So maybe I would have, maybe not. I'm always trying to think of new things to do. So who knows? I've never read the comic strip Breaking Cat News, so I don't even know what that is. Let's see. Any tattoo updates? Oh no, we're definitely put that on the back. I mean, we'll do it, but we're putting it on the back burner until the coronavirus thing dies down. I don't want to. I just think I'd hopefully in the second half of the year it'll be an easier thing to do. Lahab, I've been wanting to pick it up based on your recommendations, but I can only play games at 2-player right now. I heard on the BGG forums that this game is basically broken at 2. Is this true? Well, I don't know. Don't read forums. Just play the game. I played it many, many, many times at 2. It's fantastic at 2. Maybe it's broken. I don't know. It's not broken to me. If I don't read a forum and the game... So basically, if a game's broken but I don't figure it out, is it broken? I don't think so, right? I've called games broken before, and I'm going to do it again soon, actually. But when you can tell a game instantly is broken, and it's very obvious, but a game as in-depth and long as Lahab, I don't feel like it's broken. Maybe there's some uber strategy that someone figured out that they always win with, but whatever. I don't care, and I won't play games with that person. You'll be fine. Do you enjoy riding roller coasters? I do, but I'm enjoying it a little bit less each year, and I'm wondering if that's just a getting old thing. If so, which is your favorite? I don't know. So Busch Gardens has a lot, and I think my favorite Busch Gardens, let's see, I'll look up the roller coasters at Busch Gardens. So Busch Gardens has a lot of roller coasters. Cobra's Curse, I think. And the thing is, Cobra's Curse is not even a weird, it's not even a tough roller coaster. It's like a kid roller coaster in many ways, but I ride it with my kids, and I think that's why I liked it. But you go in, and then it takes you up in an elevator, and then you go down. That's dumb. But I like it. I like the idea that you're in an elevator. I don't know why. You go down, you go up an elevator, and then you go down the thing. So, I don't know. I like that one a lot. There was another one that I really liked there. Oh, what was it? Was it SheiKra? SheiKra was pretty cool. I also like Rip Roaring Rocket roller coaster at Universal Studios. I like roller coasters in general. Let's see here. What genre of board games do you want to see a kid-friendly introduction to that you have yet to see? Think Cora Quest. That's interesting. You know what, though? I've been playing a lot of games like that. I just played a game with my kids that was a really good introduction to deduction. That was good to role-playing games. That was good to drafting. So I don't know if there's a genre that I think would be good for kids to get into. That there isn't some good stuff out there. I'd have to think about it. Let's see here. Question, obviously not this year, but can we hope to see Dice Tower UK GE when things get back to new normal? I hope so. Is there a game you didn't love, but you think a different designer could have made into an amazing game? Almost all games, right? I mean, if a good designer could take it and turn it into a better game, I would assume. What is my favorite form of exercise? Dance Dance Revolution. Would you recommend Sleeping Gods if I didn't kickstart it and don't have the Kickstarter stuff? The Board Game Geek store is getting it soon. Sure. The Kickstarter stuff's not important. The game's great without it. How much time in an average week do you spend playing games? One of the most asked questions I get. A lot, but I don't know how much time. Hey, we have over 300 people, so let me tell you some news stuff here, and just maybe you can help us out. So we found out that the people who own this studio that we're at are going to be selling it. We have the opportunity to buy it from them, but it is likely out of our price range. And even so, it's a little smaller than I think that we would want to pay that price for. So we need to move. Not a great time to move. This area is an expensive area, but if you know any leads in South Florida where we could find a place to move to, help with the studio at all, it's going to be expensive and time consuming, and it needs to be done in the next few months. So there's an unexpected wrench in our plans, but we'll make it through. But if you know anything or can help in any way or what have you, let me know, because it's going to be a thing for a bit here. So we'll see. We put out the word here in the area, but we'll find out. On the note of awards, with the number of games that come out now, do awards really matter? Well, yeah, they matter even more so. With the number of games coming out, the awards help you pinpoint games that are at least good enough to have won an award. I think awards really matter. How has your reading comprehension skills increased since you started this career? I don't know. I've always had decent reading comprehension, not great, but I also read really fast, so I don't know that board games helped it. I like to say so. It sounds good, but I don't think so. NASCAR sponsorship can cost well over $1 million for a few races, not even the entire season. What would that? How would we get money back from that anyway? Like suddenly we would have that many more people watching our channel? I don't think so. One of your children want to get more involved in Dice Tower as they get older? I doubt it. I think they'll get less involved as time goes by. Is it too late to submit an audio clip for Podcast 700? Not if you get it to me today. Would you ever consider sharing a curated public view of the upcoming review schedule so people can know what to anticipate? No. I want to be really clear on that. No. Because then we would be held to it, and I might move a review. And if we moved a review, oh my word, then people, yeah, but you said this was coming out on Thursday. So we announce stuff, but we don't want to announce it too soon because we might change things up. Where do you fall on the introvert-extrovert scale? Oh, I'm an introvert. No, I'm an extrovert. I do find it interesting, though, where quite a few of my quote-unquote extroverted friends constantly tell me, well, we're really introverts, but we're an extrovert-introvert, which doesn't make any sense to me. If you're an extroverted introvert, I feel like you're an extrovert. Oh, but they'll say, I'm really an introvert, but I just force myself to go out and do these things. Okay, cool. But I can only go by the things I can see in people, and so if you act like an extrovert, I assume you're an extrovert. I have a very good friend who insists that they're an introvert, and everywhere I've gone with them, they're in the center of conversation. They jump into things with a passion. I'm thinking, I think you might just be an introvert in your head. And you know who you are because you're watching right now. I skipped some of your comments. Alrighty. Have you ever been to Yosemite or Yellowstone? I have not. So, how do you feel about the results of the Vote for a Top 10 Guest poll on Facebook? It gave me some ideas, but I don't take it too seriously. The main one, everyone votes for Will Wheaton, but if we can't get someone on our show, voting for it 1,000,000 times won't change it. I've asked Mr. Wheaton to be on our show. I've not heard back from him, and I've asked, I think, multiple times over the past decade or so. And if he doesn't want to come on, that's fine, or maybe he doesn't even get my emails. But the fact of the matter is, I can't just make him show up. So people put different things down. I looked at it, took my information from that, and we move on. What did you collect before and have stopped collecting? Oh, many things in my life. I used to collect stamps. I stopped collecting. I used to collect non-sports cards. I used to collect baseball cards, and then I collected non-sports cards. I don't really collect anything other than board games, and even that's not really me collecting them. That's for the Dice Tower Library. It's a curation. I don't collect anything else. I used to collect books. I don't do that anymore because I just put them all on my Kindle. I collect music, but I don't do that anymore because now I just listen to everything I want to on Spotify. I don't collect movies because I just go and watch what I want to watch or whatever's streaming at this point in time. So I don't really collect anything. Maybe I collect challenge coins. Sometimes people give me challenge coins, and I take that very seriously. I think that's a big honor. I've not got a ton of them. I think I've got like 10. But that's a big deal to me that someone would go out of their way to give me one of those. And so those I collect. But I don't think I collect anything else, do I? I don't think so. Tom, could I send you a candle? Oh, yeah. I have several lit right now. I love candles. I hate the trend where people on Board Game Geek give a rating of 1 to a game yet to be published just because they don't like the designer's other games or any other reason. What do you think about this? I don't care. Who cares if they rated a 1? I mean, the ratings don't affect it until there's a ton of ratings. And when there's a ton of ratings, a few 1 ratings won't change it. And if someone rates it a 1 and I read it and it says, never played, or I don't like this designer's games, then I discount that rating anyway. So I don't think it does anything to the game. I don't think anyone goes, this person gave it a 1, I won't buy the game. I don't think it affects the game at all. I discount a lot of ratings. I just played recently a game, multiple games actually, that are horrifyingly bad. Like terrible bad, terrible rules, just an awful, awful thing. So I went online, and it's a Kickstarter. So I went online, and it's not out enough yet to get enough stuff. But there are several people going, amazing, great. I'm like, yeah, oh, you backed it. And they'll say, backed it. One person said, haven't played. And then they gave it a 7. I was like, how do you give it a 7 just based on not having played the game? But that stuff doesn't bother me, really. So there's that. Will we see some board games getting a complete rulebook that compiles all the rules of the base game and expansions with clarifications on the rules with a FAQ section? Sure, some companies are already doing that. I like when that happens, but it's not going to happen with everybody. Can you do another top 10 list from the book again? I can. Near the back. My top 10 wonders of the world. Okay, so let's go with let's do man-made here first. So man-made, modern, wonders of the world, and I have to have seen them in person. So that's going to actually lower it down quite a bit. So, man, wow, okay, so let me think here. Like, what are the coolest man-made things I've ever seen in my life? Okay, Great Wall of China is number 1. There's no question on that. Great Wall of China, by far, is the coolest thing. After that, man-made. Haven't seen that. There's a lot of things I have not seen. I've seen the Great Wall, so that was an easy number 1. And man, some of these I would love to see. I think the things that have like really embedded themselves on me. I'll put the Statue of Liberty on there. That's a pretty big deal for me. But then I'm also going to put, there's a statue. What's it called? Lord Murugan statue. It's in Malaysia. I think I'd put that on there. And I'm also going to put the Petronas Towers in Malaysia. So that's 4. The Petronas Towers are a pretty big deal. Man-made. What else have I seen man-made that is just like wow to me? Oh. The building, I don't even know what it's called. I don't know if it has a name. I'm looking it up now. Just called the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building at NASA. It's at the Kennedy Space Center. It's the only facility where they built a rocket that took people to the moon. It's this gigantically huge building. It's one of the biggest buildings in the world. So I would put that one on the list. Lotte Mall is pretty impressive. That's Lotte World in Korea. It's an amusement park that's indoors, inside this huge building / mall. It's bigger than I know Mall of America has an indoor amusement park, but it's a really tiny amusement park. Lotte World is a full-blown amusement park. Part of it's outside, but most of it's inside this building, and it's weird because it's like inside, and you don't even see half of it. So that's pretty neat. Have I got the 7 yet? I don't know if that one would be on the list, but maybe I don't know if the Forbidden Temple would make the list. Things that just put me in awe. Now, if I go to natural wonders, that's trickier because I've seen so many cool ones there, and I'm afraid that I'm just going to do man-made for today. Because natural, I would have a hard time doing non-Iceland. I mean, I'd probably put Niagara Falls on the list, but I think maybe the other 6 would be all in Iceland. I'm not sure on that one, so I'd have to think. All right. Let's go back to questions. Have you found that playing games with your kids at a young age has helped with their reading and maths? I don't know. I hope so. It doesn't hurt it, so it can help them. I don't know that I've seen the board games be the cause for that. What are your thoughts on late pledges for Kickstarters being more expensive? I can understand the logic for sure, but it's not always my fault that I missed the campaign, so it's difficult. That's on them, right? I guess they have the opportunity to do that. But that's to the company. So I don't know that I have any strong feelings on that one way or the other. Target, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles are bringing board games to the masses, which is great, but it is killing local game stores because they cannot compete on price. What is your take and suggestion? I think that the market is self-correcting. I think there are a lot of amazing local game stores out there that will survive through this. But what local game stores have that the other stores don't have is a place to play games, which for the past 12 months has not been something that they've been able to do. So because of that, I don't know. I think local game stores will do well and survive. I think a lot will not. But I guess I'm not as concerned about the situation. I can be concerned on a specific basis, like, oh, my friend Julia, her local game store. Okay, I feel bad for Julia. But if you came and said, local game stores are dying by the droves, that doesn't mean anything to me specifically. I know you don't talk politics, but your daylight savings time is spot on. Down with the time changes. I know. I feel like this could be something that could bring Americans together. Like, let's all get rid of the time change. Let's get rid of it, vote on it. Democrats, Republicans, independents, everybody could get behind it. Come on, a unifying thing. I'm making a call for this. I mean, who wants the time change? It's just so weird to me that there must be some people out there that want it. I know it initially started because of trains and farms and some obscure reasoning that happened in the past, but that's gone now. So who still wants it? I don't know. Let's see here. I know you talked about 1080 streaming. I would strongly suggest you look into it. Well, we might do it in the future. It's possible. Are we streaming? We're streaming. I guess we're streaming at 720. We just need faster internet for it to work better. And maybe if we're forced to move, here, and we go to a place, maybe we'll be able to get a better internet connection where we can stream in 1080. Yeah, someone here said that's pretty much anything that's sold in America. The big key for friendly local game stores is to provide much more and better price than to be a service-oriented industry. I agree. And that's the thing, right? It's not just, people keep saying local game stores, but it's local anything. All stores are being beat up. And I find that there are some people who are hypocritical about it. They'll say, support your local game store. And then they order something on Amazon that they could have walked down and got from their local whatever. Well, sure, but why, if I support the local game store, should I also support my local hardware store when I can just order light bulbs through Amazon and they're cheaper and faster and I don't have to go out of my house to get them? So should I support that store too? And should I buy all local? And of course, some people think you should buy all local. But that's a hard row for me to hoe if I can save a lot of money by shopping online. So I also don't understand. I've never understood. I believe in global economy anyway. I've just never understood why I need to buy from Jack Smith down the street because he decided to open a store. If he opens a store, let's say, for example, I was ordering, books off Amazon. And I'm reading books and have a good time. And then some guy, Jack Smith, I don't even know who Jack Smith is, opens a store down the street. Now I have to go to his store. Before I didn't have one, so it was fine. I could buy them, no problem. But now that he's down the street, I should just go there because that's better for the local economy. What if Jack Smith's a jerk? I don't know who he is. But now if I do know, maybe I'll do it because he's a friend and I'll help him out. But if I don't know him, it just seems, that's always been a weird argument to make, that just because he decided to start a store, I need to go buy there. And it's about anything. I've always found that to be a little odd. I can understand if you like your local game store and you want to go there and play games, you want to support them, that's fantastic. But I feel no obligation to do it, especially if I don't know who they are. Especially if they don't offer any of that stuff, then what's my impetus for doing that? And again, I can understand it if you believe that you should shop everything local. I just found a lot of people who say you should shop locally pick and choose what they shop locally for. A spoiler discussion of the Red Rising books you mentioned, particularly the first 3 books. Well, it's hard to do a spoiler-free discussion of it. But I have read the first 3 books. I have not read the 4th and 5th book because I heard there's a 6th book coming, and that went like a second trilogy. So I figured I'll just read all 3 straight up. I don't feel like reading more. I don't feel like reading up to a cliffhanger. And the 1st and the 3rd book ended on a very nice note. It was a brutal read, and I really liked the final books. I think I don't even know which one I liked best, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. I mean, the first one was clean. It was smaller. The second one took things in a much more global arena and ended on a very Empire Strikes Back type note. I'm glad I didn't read the 2nd book and find out that there wasn't a 3rd book. And the 3rd book I really skimmed that first chapter of the third book, but I'm glad they only spent one chapter on what they did there, and that they kind of skipped over good, I don't know, 9 months or so. I was pretty happy with that. Do you think the dramatized audio narration in the vein of Forgotten Waters would have further elevated your enjoyment of Sleeping Gods? Maybe. I think dramatized reading will elevate any story game. Let's see. I'm going through. I know I'm not doing a lot of questions, and I apologize. I'm trying to pick ones that are interesting. So if I miss your question, my apologies. But I'm just trying to pick questions that work for me answering them and that I want to talk about. Let's see here. And some of these questions I've answered many, many times before. So sometimes I'll answer a question I've answered many times before, but I don't want to answer the same questions in every chat. Sorry. Love Lords of Waterdeep and heard viticulture is similar. It's not at all. They're both worker placement games, but I would not say they're similar in any other way. If you like Lords of Waterdeep, the next step to go would be a game called Champions of Midgard. Who told you? You know, I feel like it's whoever told you viticulture was like Lords of Waterdeep loves viticulture, which I also do. But I found that some people do this with their favorite game all the time. They'll be like, my favorite game is Kalis. You like Puerto Rico? You would love Kalis. You like Catan? Kalis. You like this? Kalis. It just cracks me up because there are some people like that. No matter what, you'd be like, you probably like this one. That's your favorite game. I know, you love it. Well, not necessarily. By the way, a lot of people ask questions here, and they also email me. They'll say, I have a couple kids, and I have this kid or this. What game would you recommend? What's this, and this, and this? Those are fantastic questions, but I almost never answer them, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I don't know you or your children, so I would need to get to know you and get to know all your likes and dislikes and know you as a person and this and that and this and that, and I'd be like, and I think this one. I can't do that. So your better bet is to go to the Dice Tower Facebook forums and ask your question there. Ask it, and you'll get lots of good answers from lots of people who might be in your exact same situation. Hey, it's my first time here. I don't know how it works, so I'll just write a question and that's it. What do you think the future of the Arkham Horror Files will be? Arkham Horror Files? I guess you mean the game? I don't know. They just announced a new expansion for the game. I'm assuming the card game's going to last for a while still. It seems to be very popular. And the board game, I think, will be there. Hey, maybe, who knows? Maybe in a month, two, they'll announce a new Eldritch Horror Part 2. Who knows? Who would win in a board game YouTuber battle royale? Like actual real battle royale? I think it would all depend on who's willing to like not pull out the stops. I mean, who wouldn't hesitate and would do anything to win at all costs. I think they would win. I don't know. But I know who'd lose. Alrighty, let's see here. People are talking about cats still. The Hav is very optimal at 3, but still good at 2. You're right. I think 3 is my favorite way to play it, but I'll gladly play it with 2. Love the new Catch-A-Palooza series. Any idea how frequently those will come out? I'm going to start them off at 1 every 2 weeks, just so we don't get overwhelmed with it. We're doing one this week. We're doing Rescue Polar Bears, which is going to be a game that Roy and I have not played before, so we'll be doing that. And then in the next one in 2 weeks will be Nexus Ops, which Mike DeLisio had not played before. So, and then after that, we'll worry about other stuff farther down the road. But every 2 weeks, I think, is where we're going to end up with those for now. Sure, you can break any game if you just refuse to play the game like, well, I'm not going to help anybody and I'm going to do this and that. You could break any game if you do that. That doesn't mean the game's broken. It just means you're not fun to play with. Film producers have said websites like Rotten Tomatoes hurt a film's chance of success. Do you think the same goes for BGG and board games? Maybe, but I don't know why a film would say that. If a film gets like a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, that means most people didn't like it. If that hurts its chance for success, then it is what it is. You could say, well, yeah, but there's a lot of people who do like it. That's fine. Then they don't care what Rotten Tomatoes says anyway. I don't know. I just feel that that's kind of a cop-out. If a lot of people think your thing's bad, it's what it is. And if you don't, I don't know. Would you compare Cantaloupe to Chronicles of Crime? Yeah, I think they're kind of in the same thing, but Chronicles of Crime takes itself a little bit more seriously. Cantaloupe is really silly. Space Mountain make me feel like a dime someone left in their jeans in a dryer. I did not like Space Mountain. And I'll tell you why. I'm sure it's not that scary of a roller coaster. I just didn't like being in the dark almost the whole time. That just didn't do anything for me. I was not sure why people liked that so much. I thought, who cares? How many times a day do you change shirts? Twice, usually. I usually don't change shirts throughout the day. I'll change ties sometimes, but not shirts. Have you played games with family members where you are not liking it, but they are having a blast? How do you balance the critic side with just let them have fun side? Oh, sure, we can have fun, and then I can smash it later. But I wouldn't stop a game if everyone's having fun. Not sure where you're from in Pennsylvania, but have you had Primanti sandwiches? I don't think so. Primanti sandwich. Where is it? Oh, it looks good. Oh, it's by Pittsburgh. Yeah. I always tell people Philadelphia's 2 states. East Pennsylvania, West Pennsylvania. And nary the two shall meet. That's not quite true, but it feels very true. Like I think I've been to West Pennsylvania like 3 times in my life, but I've been to so many places in East Pennsylvania. And then, of course, there's Central PA, where Harrisburg and Lancaster, but that's all part of East Pennsylvania. We know that. I've never been to Erie still. And I don't think I've never been to Pittsburgh. And I lived in Pennsylvania, but I've been to Philadelphia a ton of times, and Lancaster, and York, and Gettysburg, and Harrisburg, and Bethlehem, and Catasauqua, and yada, 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 yada. But that does look like a great sandwich, I'll say that. Is there a reason why we never did Black Rose Wars? You know, because we never got sent a copy of it. How do you compile the list of games for crowd surfing? I just put them together. Nick says, there's always a few that I miss with my searches. Me too. And I double search now, and I still miss them. Jay says, what's the rarest board game you've struggled to acquire that's renowned in the community? And what's one from your... okay, I don't understand. A rare game? Cosmic Encounter. Mayfair Edition, which I got a hold of. And then that's the personal one. For one that's renowned in the community, I don't know. I know that I was having a hard time getting Kinkopolis, but that just showed up now because they reprinted it. Ha ha ha. Do I stay in touch with Sam? Sure. I just called him a week or so ago and we talked for a bit. Just caught up. He's doing fine. You said in a previous video that the Dice Tower Library has upgraded components for Abomination. What kind of upgrades do you have? I don't remember actually what they are, but I know we had like little bones instead of being white cubes. They're little bones, and they were like just shaped pieces for some of the stuff. No, you do not want to see me have DDR, because every time I play DDR, I tend to have a heart attack. After one UK Games Expo, we all went to a little arcade, and we all played DDR. The Dice Tower guys and friends who were there. And I don't think anyone took a video. Maybe they did. And if so, may that video never surface. What's your favorite thing to do with your now older kids that wasn't possible before when they were younger, other than playing more complex games? Easy. Talk. And that's not an exaggeration, but the fact that I can now talk as an adult to my adult kids is really cool. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I didn't talk to my kids when they're younger or when they are younger. It's fine, but that's kid conversations, and it's okay. It's just a different thing. But being able to talk to your adult kids is fantastic. Depends on your area in South Florida and space needed. I like to stay where I'm at, Homestead, maybe Cutler Bay, which is the next city up that far north. And space needed, we need at least 2,500 feet. 3,000 would probably make me happier. We'd like to take our games out of storage and put them in the studio so we don't have to keep going to storage to get them out. Did you always know you wanted to be a parent? Yes. How did you know? I don't know. I just always wanted to be a dad. Why is the giant rhino hero $100 on the Board Game Geek score? Is there any way it could be made cheaper? Maybe. Cough, Dice Tower Essentials? No. Cough, cough, no. I like Dino Hero, but the giant one, first of all, it's sold by Haba, so that's not Dice Tower Essentials. Secondly, that game's not going to sell as well as you think it would. It would not sell everywhere. Are you talking 15 miles from your current location? Real estate agents in your area are the best option. That's how they make their money. Oh, sure. And we're going to talk to real estate agents, but I always spread the word. The more mouths talking about this, the better. Maybe it just happened to know somebody who lives in this area who's moving. You know, that sort of thing. That's why I spread the word. You never know. Will the new marble track be named after Root Beer Float? It will not. Do you personally consider Ryan Laukat as a bigger name in board game design, like with the top named guys, or is he the middle of the pack? Did Sleeping Gods change it for you at all? I don't know that changed it for me. I think Ryan Laukat is one of the best designers ever, probably. Would he make my top 10 list? I don't know. We really do need to do a top 10 board game designer at some point. We'll see. Let's see here. Do you like Hearthstone's Battlegrounds? I don't know where I'm standing on that so far. I like Hearthstone a lot. Ooh, it's March. Have they released a new set yet? When is the new set coming out? I like Hearthstone. Anyhow, I played Battlegrounds a bit. It took me a long time to figure out what was even going on in Hearthstone Battlegrounds. It's a little too frenetic for me. It's okay, but I don't like it as much as Hearthstone. What is a challenge coin? That's a good question. So I know that part of the challenge coins, the background for them started somewhere else, but I'm going to tell you what they are for me. Or not challenge coins. Maybe challenge is the wrong word for them. But what are those called? Anyway, a lot of people in the military have them. You get a special coin made. They're metal, really beautiful coins, people in the armed forces, and you give them to people who've changed your life or impacted you in meaningful ways, or just the way it's to people who get them made don't get a lot of them made. And it again it happens in the military. And when they give them to you, that is, you've made a mark on their life. And I've had several Dice Tower fans give them to me, but not even just some Dice Tower fans. I've had some personal friends give them to me. I have one from a man named Wayne Kirkbride who unfortunately passed away several years ago, maybe a decade or so. And, he was an officer in the Army. He was stationed in Korea for a long time. He was a teacher there same time I was there, and he gave me one. And that really means something to me. I still have it. And I have different various ones that people have given to me. That's a big deal to me, and I really like them. What was I love being surprised by sweet Dice Tower contact. You like Blake? Good. I saw Blake do a video, and I think he would be great. And so I'm glad. What's the last Dice Tower video that surprised you where you were like, that's so good? Like a Dice Tower video, but I'm involved in so many of them. You mean the non-ones? I like everyone on the Dice Tower. If I did not like them, they would not be on the Dice Tower. Do you see Imperial Salt ever coming back, or is it dead? I'm pretty sure they announced that it's finished. Have you received a copy of the new Villainous? I have not. What do you think about review embargoes? They're fine. I don't really see why they matter that much. I understand why sometimes there's an intellectual property involved. And, some publishers say it's a fair way for everyone to do them and all. But I have a couple concerns about review embargoes. One of the things is that if you send a game out to everybody and you say the review embargo is this and it's a hot game, all those reviews go up on the same day, and that publisher just got all those reviewers to be their promotional machine. But and then there's also a race. What do you mean by, so it's allowed to go up on this day? So is that Eastern Standard Time? Midnight the review goes up? And don't get me wrong, I used to rush around to do this and that myself, but I've come to a conclusion it's not that big of a deal. We'll get them up when we get them up. We'd like to get stuff up sooner than later, sure, but we want to take our time. We could have did Sleeping Gods, I think, 3-4 weeks earlier than we put it up. But we wanted to make sure we played it right before we posted it. But yeah, review embargoes are fine. If a company tells me there's a review embargo, I say, not a problem. Where I do draw the line is when companies tell me to do it in a time frame. I just flat out won't do that. I'll obey the review embargo, but you can't say this needs to go up between March 17th and March 22nd. That I have a problem with, because at that point, you're asking me to do your promotional work because your pre-orders go up that week, and I don't like that at all. If they're paying for like a Kickstarter preview, that Mark does the Kickstarter previews, if they pay for that and it goes up at a certain time, sure. But for a review, we'll put that up when it goes up. So I don't have any like majorly strong, like again, review embargoes are fine. I think sometimes I'm amused by them. Like a new company will come with a really small game and they'll go, don't review this before March 15th. And we're like, sure. Why did you put an embargo? But for hotter, bigger games, I can see why. They don't want information out there earlier, and they might not even want people rushing to play it and doing some haphazard review, I suppose. But like, I don't love review embargoes, but I don't dislike them either. They are what they are. Let's see. Oh, people are now giving me other wonders of the world that I should have put here. Okay, I haven't seen the Space Needle. The Arch in St. Louis, I've only seen from a very far distance. CN Tower, no, I didn't think that one was as exciting as the rest. Let me see. Soul Tower is pretty close, though. Soul Tower is at the top of the mountain. That's really neat. Well, it has to be one I saw, so I can't pick the Hanging Garden of Babylon. Now people are putting inventions. I'm not talking about those. Mount Rushmore. I haven't seen that, which is weird because I was close enough to go to that when I went to visit my dad. I did see Carhenge. I play Hearthstone a lot, actually. But I go on waves. So I did not review it. I mean, I've not played it for like 3 or 4 weeks because I'm playing something else on my iPad right now. It's a game called Dungeon Warfare 2, which is a tower defense game, and I'm just amused by playing tower defense games. But other than that, I don't have any strong feelings. But as it is, folks, I apologize. I have to run here because I have a meeting I need to go to, which I just got a buzz about. Thank you all for showing up to my Q&A. And I hope that you have a fantastic and terrific day. We got more videos going up today. We got videos going up tomorrow. We'll be live playing Umbravia. So come join us tomorrow morning for that. 5 great games tomorrow. I'll be talking about those. And then, shoot some marbles. Come on out. Who's going to win? Find out tomorrow. So I know I didn't answer 600 gazillion questions, but I do appreciate everyone who showed up. So until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. See y'all later.